Do you ever feel like your life is an emotional roller coaster? Like just for a moment, you wish you could get off the roller coaster and catch your breath? I used to feel that way. And I used to also feel like a hamster on a wheel. Like I was on that wheel just going around in circles, working, trying to get something done. And like I always ended up back in the same place, having the same conversations, the same drama, the same things, like a wheel just spinning around and around. And I wanted off that wheel so bad. Well, 9 years ago, I went through a divorce. And when I came out of that divorce, I made a decision that I was going to get off that wheel and I was going to unhook from that roller coaster and get off and find a different way to do things. I was bound and determined that my next 20 years was not going to be as miserable and unhappy as my last 20 years had been. And that felt like a pretty heavy, sad indictment on my life. Like, oh my gosh, I've lived kind of what felt like a miserable, heavy life of emotional trauma, emotional roller coaster. And I was just done. I was done. And so I made the commitment to myself that I wasn't going to live that way anymore. But I didn't have any idea at that point in time what was going to help me move to something different. Like I had no idea what different looked like, right? And so it was a journey, a bit at a time, to figure that out. But here, the cool thing is I'm sitting here 9 years later. And if you're in that spot where I was 9 years ago, feeling like you're on this emotional roller coaster and like you're dizzy from it, you're exhausted, you want to vomit from it, you're just so over it, guess what? I now am here as your guide to help you understand how you can do that. And I want to talk to you today about strengthening your own personal foundation, because that is where you start unhooking from all of this drama and getting off of the roller coaster. It's looking internally at the things that make the fabric of who you are and then beginning to strengthen those things bit by bit. Well, what am I talking about? I'm talking about things like boundaries. How do you set healthy boundaries for what's good for you and then hold those boundaries? What are you tolerating in your life that you're just sick and tired of tolerating? What are your guiding values? Like, what is important to you as a human being? And when I decided to get off my roller coaster, I had no idea even who I was as a human being anymore, because I had poured myself into everyone else around me. And I was the last person that I had poured myself into. And so I didn't even know who I was. So part of my journey of strengthening my personal foundation was unhooking from overhelping. I had to look at when is helping actually helping and when is helping actually hurting me or the people around me. So I had to look at that. And learning to know, who am I? What's important to me? What do I value in life? And then what's the expectations for myself? How do I want to show up in life? And how do I want the people around me to show up in life? How do I want to be when I communicate with people? Do I want to constantly have triggered emotional arguments, or do I want to find a better way to communicate and to show up where I can actually feel like I'm being heard and I have people in my life who are willing to listen to me? So those are all of the things that I worked on. And I think there's 6 areas that are so super important to work on to begin with. The unhooking from overhelping, so you can actually learn who you are as a person. That can also be called codependency. It doesn't have to be. I don't like labels, because when we label things, then we feel like we are those things, and we are never anything. We're never defined by labels. So unhooking from overhelping. learning how to take care of you. When you fly, they always give the instruction, put the oxygen mask on you first. And if you're not making your own health and well-being a priority, then you're most likely drained, exhausted, and we need to learn how to invest in you again. Boundaries. How do we set healthy boundaries for ourselves and others? Values. What do we really value in life? What's important to us? And what are we sick and tired of tolerating and putting up with in our life? And not only what are we tired of tolerating it, but how can we move towards eliminating those things so that we can say, I have a toleration-free life. Like, I love everything about my life. And then learning how to set different expectations and standards. Standards for yourself, standards for what you accept and allow into your life. Those are the 6 key areas to really begin growing and strengthening your own personal foundation in. And then there's 5 areas of life that we do this in. Is our physical world, so our physical things around us, our mental world, what we say to ourselves, what we're seeing, picturing, imagining in our minds, the conversations we have, our emotional world, how we relate to others emotionally, how we make decisions, and then our financial world. What do our finances look like? What's our career look like? What are we accepting that's less than the best for us in our career, in whether we have a partner that helps us with, that we work jointly with finances on, and how you're preparing for the future financially. And then all of that is tied together by our connection with our own spirit and our relationship to our own intuition guiding us, and how that intuition is connected to a higher power, whether you call that source, universe, God, whatever it is that you call it. So those are the 5 key areas that all of those things show up in our life. If you know that you're that woman who is ready, so ready to get off of this roller coaster of life, then join me in strengthening your foundation. Join me in my series, Ignite Your Life, and learn how to strengthen your foundation in these 6 areas. I'll put a link below on how you can register for the series coming up. And I invite you to join me and begin your journey of being determined that no matter what, I'm going to get off this roller coaster. I'm life and business coach Vicki Haddock with Transcending Limits. And I'm here to help you build and strengthen your foundation so that you can then get on to the business of living your Eiffel Tower-sized life and visions that you were really meant to be on this earth to do. And we're going to do that by healing the hurts that are inside of you, connecting to your own internal guidance system so that you can really own your authentic purpose in this world. You can find me online at YouTube and subscribe to my YouTube channel, follow me on Instagram, and like my page on Facebook, and then my website at www.tslimits.com. I look forward to seeing you in my tribe on this journey forward as we continue to strengthen our foundation together and quit accepting being on the roller coaster. You don't have to be on the roller coaster anymore. Talk to you soon.